you have yesterday where, you're kind of in it. You have a first half where it's like, all right, they're off to a slow start. Let's make something happen. And yet, I have Mike Gesicki yelling at the entire mother bleeping team because nobody knows what they're doing. Tua's not getting them lined up. Jalen Waddle's out here. I don't know what he's doing. Everybody's just la-di-da all over the place. And then somehow this center, who I've never heard of, he's been a center for 3 seconds on this team. He's got a man bun. Snaps the ball right into Mike Gesicki. And all hell breaks loose. And so instead of a drive that's going to at least end in 3 points, all right, but maybe you can get a touch, actually get a little momentum, getting the ball back in the second half. But instead, it's snapped right into Mike Gesicki, and he kicks it all over the place. This team just finds new ways to embarrass itself week after week after week. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I tried to explain how that happens. And there's a couple of things going on at the same time. So, first of all, when you play a road game, there's certain things that are in place where all the communication is with your hands and with motions and timing. So when you go silent and you see the guard tap the center actually goes through the cadence, right? Because it's basically for the offensive line. So he'll tap, the center will go through the cadence in his head, the ball snap, right? What happens behind him, he has no idea. So I kept trying to figure out, hey man, I'm no rocket scientist, but if the circumstances between the center and the timing of the play and the adjustments that you have to make are causing a bit of a problem, why the hell do you keep doing it?
I don't know. I don't know.
So it happens periodically where I've seen it a couple of times in other games where they go silent and the ball just pops up in the quarterback's face and they go, he wasn't even looking. It happens. Believe me, it happens more than people think. Very rarely, though, does it hit a guy crossing the formation.
How does it always have to be the most embarrassing fashion with them? Like, not just a little embarrassing. It couldn't have just been snapped over to his head. It had to be hit the tight end on a jet sweep. It looks like he's doing a jet sweep. And even Mike Gesicki's after the game, he's like, do I look like a jet sweep kind of guy? Do I look like that type of guy? Like, was that meant to happen? Do I look like a jet sweep kind of guy? Is that me? Like, dude,
I think out of all this, we're starting to learn, hey, man, Gesicki's kind of fun.
But he was going to
anybody.
Murder somebody yesterday. He was so mad.
Like, because it was like, again we hit me with the ball.
Did we not just call timeout? He's like, did we not just call timeout?
Do you think Jalen Waddle was hiding from him in the locker room?
I don't know. He's probably the fastest Jalen Waddle has been because he's certainly not fast in the Dolphins football field.
Dude, can I just tell you, there's nothing more frustrating to me than seeing a guy who's supposed to be a burner running a comeback. Because I got to tell you what, I played with a guy who was fast, right? And the only comebacks that Randy Moss ran were like 15, 20-yard comebacks because he put so much pressure on that guy's hammies that when he stopped, the dude couldn't stop and he was wide open. right? I mean, look, if you're going to run regular routes with a guy who's supposed to have exceptional talent, you can have anybody do that, right? You can have anybody run comebacks. I want to see this guy using his speed and his ability at the position.
You want to hear Jason?
It's so frustrating seeing I don't want the quarterback and Jalen Waddle making eye contact. That means I don't want him running back to the quarterback. I don't want him trying to find an open spot. If I see one, Tobin, I'm telling you right now, if I see Jalen Waddle running across the field at 4 yards one more time, do it again.
They're going to do it
one more time.
They're going
they're going to do it. That's been the Dolphins' offense forever.
Now, but and I tried to be patient because here's why. You know what the Dolphins are probably most proud of right now?
Nothing?
They put up a little chart. Guys who get rid of the ball the quickest.
Yeah.
And Tua was on that list.
Yep, I saw that.
And we complained about that his first year. And I got to tell you, I don't want him on that list. Because instead of Tua getting rid of the ball because he's making quick and decisive reads, he's getting rid of the ball because everybody running 2 damn second routes. Right? It's not a situation where he's making decisive, and quick decisions.
Right.
And then you get into a situation where it's 3rd and 15. Now you want to drop him back and throw it deep.
But it's always 3rd and 15.
Or you get down by 2 touchdowns.
It's always 3rd and 15, though, after another illegal formation or a false start from one of these linemen or a holding or something. Because,
So, look, everybody has penalties, okay? The problem is some teams can't afford them, okay? Tampa lost last night because they had 1 million penalties and all of them were on 3rd down. You lost to, Trevor Siemian?
Yep.
Right? You lost to the Snedeker guy in the golf commercial. And I tell you what, y'all was watching the game and I was watching the Saints game and I said, Tua would be a great fit here. Thing about New Orleans.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's funny. Drew Brees didn't have a cannon. And he threw for damn near more yards than anybody other than the Crypt Keeper and Tom Brady.
Here's Brian Flores after the game. Flo didn't talk to the media, Leroy, for almost an hour after the game. Normally he's first ups, talks like 10 minutes after the game, gets to the podium, gets the hell out of there. Instead, all the players spoke. Tua was the last player to speak. He's also normally one of the first players to speak. So Tua spoke as the last player. Brian Flores, nearly an hour after the game, finally gets to the podium. And people ask him, where the hell were you, Flo?
Look, like always, my conversations with players I try to keep them confidential. Players, coaches, I keep them confidential. So, there's always conversations. Today I really just kind of sat there, sitting there. It's a tough loss. It's a number of losses in a row. So, I just figured we'd let the players go.
Were there conversations with Steve Ross or Chris Reed after this game?
Yeah, I always talk to Steve and Chris after the game. But again, those conversations are, between them and I.
So he just sat there, Leroy. Just sat there. It's been a long losing streak. What was he doing? Just sitting there, stewing in it.
I would imagine that it's got to be pretty frustrating. There's 2 different kinds of coaches, right? There's a coach who is, from a player's perspective, an ass. And that is, no matter how well you think you've got a grasp of what he wants to do, he still stays after it and nags and nags and nags and nags and nags and do this and I want exactly done here and do this and do. And a lot of guys hate that guy, but some coaches are like that. And that's, I would say that's kind of how Bill Belichick is.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the coaches, and there's really no right or wrong way about it, but you just got to have a grasp of it. There's coaches that implement how he wants things done. He sees his guys pick it up and he moves on, right? But when you have a team like that, or a veteran team, or a team that really does get it, you don't have to keep revisiting it.
But this is the thing.
I think.
But here's the thing. You know, these guys get up there every single week and they say, oh, I like the way the prep goes. I love the hard work we're putting into these things. But how do they have such a bad grasp of what good preparation is? Because we can clearly see, even if it's a tough environment, I get you. Everybody's got to go in tough environments every single week. We don't see the embarrassments that this team is putting forth week in and week out. And every time they get up to these podiums and they're like, love the prep, love the work that we put in. How are they so off on this? Or do they not know what good preparation is? Do they have a swayed scale?
I'm going to tell you why. Because no matter how much you want to replicate certain circumstances and situations during the course of a game, the fact of the matter is that you can't. Like, you can pump in loud music into your practice facility and work on different things using silent counts and checks and stuff like that. But when you actually get in front of the crowd noise and you got a 40 second or 30 seconds left or 15 seconds left, that's hard to replicate. We always had I guess we call it a shot clock. We always had a play clock, in the corner of every practice, right? But where that gets lost is this, okay? What about when the dumb coaches are, thinking about what play to run, and then by the time it gets to the quarterback, there's 15 seconds left.
Especially when you have 6 coaches to go through.
I knew that was coming.
So let's hear.
Although you try to replicate what conditions you're going to play in on Sunday, the fact of the matter is that you just kind of have to have more of a grasp of what you're doing, and that eliminates a lot of the issues.
Yeah, I guess. But look, I'm not just talking about the Bills game. Like, the Bills game was just the new cherry on top of all their embarrassments. Like, they've had home games that have been embarrassing. They've had games in London that have been embarrassing. And it's just these, the lack of execution in these critical moments is, it's jarring.
It's indicative of a bad football team.
Yeah. Here's, I think this was the thing that really broke a lot of people yesterday. So Jason Taylor on the Dolphins radio network, which you can hear on the flagship, WQAM. This was after Myles Gaskin. The Dolphins are down already. They're going to lose this game. But Myles Gaskin, they just swing a 3-yard pass to him. And so the time's winding down, and Jason Taylor sees this play, and he's just like, what are we doing?
Screen pass out to Gaskin. Gaskin wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. He loses 2.
If you're going to run a play here in this situation, there's a minute left. Obviously, you've lost the game. If you're going to run a play, that's the play you run. Yeah. If you're just trying to get out of here, turn around and hand the ball off or take a knee. But that's the play you run. You run a play for a 3-yard loss.
45 seconds left. The ball at the Dolphin 23. They hand it to Gaskin, and he gets out close to the 30. You're right about that, Jason.
I just don't understand it. I mean, there's one of 2 things you do here. You either take a knee and go home without getting anybody hurt, or you run the football twice and go home with no timeouts. But to motion your back out of the backfield to an empty set and then throw a bubble to your running back for a 3-yard loss,
makes no sense.
Like, what is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's right.
I don't know.
He's right.
I don't know.
He's right.
I don't know,
Here.
man.
Think about this. What Jason Taylor is basically saying is, you either try or you don't.
Right.
But that's neither.
That's neither. It's like what
That's neither.
what's the point? What are you doing? You know, like
I'm starting to believe this. That you ever watch a game and you watch offensive football and it has a nice flow. It's like, play action when you thought we're gonna run it. And it seems it's a nice flow to the football game. Good offensive football, right? You can kind of see where they're going with it. You can kind of see what they're working on. You can kind of, periodically during the course of a game, you see a receiver run a slant, the receiver jumps it, and as a player watching that, I'm like, here comes the slant and go. Because they're setting it up, right? It has like you can kind of see a picture to the movie, right? Get an idea of how the movie is gonna go. When I watch this offensive team, there is no offensive concept. They're just running plays.
mm-hmm.
There's no, like, it's not even necessarily situational. Right? Because there's no rhyme or reason
to it.
For some of the plays until they get in 3rd and 15 and you got to push the ball down the field and the whole defense is back there. Jeez. So, I don't know. I mean, I agree with him. I agree with Jason 100%. Like, if I'm a running back.
No, I remember texting.
And we got 45 seconds left to go in the game, right?
You didn't have your phone, so because you locked it away because of Michigan purposes. You didn't want to curse the people into it. But I was texting you and Robbie. I was like, what are you doing? Just tap out. Like, just at that point, just hand. What are we doing? And I didn't hear the Jason Taylor call live, but I think I saw Skolnick tweet about it, and I went back and listened on the Odyssey app. I was like, ooh.
I just don't understand it.
I don't listen, dude. Hey, Jason. I don't know if you understand. Dude, this is what we've been watching now for 20 years. Basically, since you left, dude, this is what we've been watching.
I just don't understand it.
Well, welcome to Dolphins football fandom, my friend. Damage is done.
Part of the problem is that, and when you take situations like this, imagine being a player, right? And that play comes in from the sidelines. You're like, what are we doing? And contrary to popular belief, I would say this. When you watch the Heat play, it looks like everybody's excited to play defense. Play defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're excited. They look forward to it. When you see these players go on the field, I'm more than sure Jalen Waddle's like, another damn crossing route? A comeback? Like, I'm catching 2-yard passes. Let's go.
Well, when he knows where to set up.
How about freezing cold takes bringing back the old Stephen Ross quote?
Deserved. And then
from after LeBron left.
Deserved. And did you see, by the way, the Heat never miss an opportunity to call
QB1.
Dude, did you see that? The Heat never miss an opportunity to shade on the Dolphins now. It's a delight.
They hate them.
What did they do?
As soon as the game is – they've been doing this every time now. Every time the Dolphins lose during the losing streak. And I don't know why it's gotten extra petty this year. But they're
because they're just extra good this year. But it's been
But,
ever since LeBron left.
No. But it's been noticeable this year.
Yeah.
Like they've been really
even the Panthers dunked on them.
They've been really rubbing it in on the Dolphins because I'll tell you why. Because the Dolphins carry themselves in this town with an unbelievable arrogance, like they mean something, and it's just because they're in the NFL. That's it. They go out there. They hold themselves like they are something special, and they're a joke.
They've done nothing in my lifetime.
They're a joke, and they act like they should mean something. And you want to know something? It's sad because I know fan reaction. I know what the numbers are. I know there's a ton of people that care about this football team, but what this team has done for that fan base that cares so much, they've given them so little. They'll take anything. They're in the desert, dying of thirst. They'll take sweat to drink right now. And what the Dolphins will say, how about some urine? That's what they'll give them to quench their thirst. but they carry themselves with this arrogance. And so, yeah, when you had the owner who, what was it, 7 years ago now? 7 years ago saying, oh, the Heat's a different organization now that LeBron's left and that the Dolphins have captured the imagination of the South Florida fan base. No, dude. The Heat are always the same organization because what they've been doing in those 7 years is always revamp it to give their fans something to root for. And you guys haven't given us a playoff win since 2000. Two mother bleeping decades.
07.
And so anyway, Leroy, what they posted afterwards is they posted a picture of Kyle Lowry, and they just said, QB1.
I would say that the difference between one of the glaring differences between the Heat and the Dolphins is this. At no point in time did the Heat expect anyone to think that they're rebuilding. They wouldn't allow it.
Right.
It's like
they thought about it.
No,
they thought about it for like
rebuilding. We retooling.
I remember for like 3 seconds.
Like a
it was a TNT game. Riley was getting interviewed by David Aldridge, and they were 11-30 at that point, or just they were in that midst of the start of the season where they were just awful. And so it's like, yeah, maybe we have to go in that direction. And then they of course had the 30-11 where they ended 500. That's the only time Riley even maybe like thought about it. He's like, yeah, maybe we should take it. Maybe. But think about that. They like just barely. And then one other time in their history where Riley left Ron Rothstein to coach the team and he was scouting all to get Michael Beasley. That's the only times in the team's history. Now, Leroy, both of those times, the Dolphins have still not won a playoff game in those 2 occasions where the Heat actually tanked and kind of thought about tanking. It crossed their mind.
That 1 year that the Heat were bad, the Dolphins were actually worse.
Yes. That was the 1-15 season. Somehow. So they have been through, and so they've had one stat, Sperano, Cam Cameron, Joe Philbin,
your boy Gase,
and now Flo, and some interims in the in-between. It's crazy, man.